Joe, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
Good, good. Just finished up with some training and just kind of hanging out, recovering a little bit, and getting ready for tomorrow.
Nice. And you're obviously getting ready to face Jim Miller on April 10th. What have preparations been like so far?
It's been really thorough and super tough. The nice thing about fighting somebody like him is, A, it's a huge opportunity. So you don't, every fight I train as hard as I possibly can. But I think we've found a new gear going into this one, just knowing that this is a huge opportunity for me to showcase what I can do against somebody that everyone knows is a super talented, super, super tough guy. So a win over him just shows that, I really, really belong here. Um, and the other thing that goes with it is there's a lot to know about him because he's been in the UFC. What would be his 37th fight, I think. So that being said, there's no excuse to not do our preparation on the front end of knowing what to expect. So my coach has done a great job with that, and I've just been working to make sure I can, utilize the game plan they've set out for me.
Yeah, definitely. And you're coming off of a great first round finish back in August. What was it like? What were the feelings and emotions following that fight? Because obviously the first time round it got cancelled, you had to withdraw. So what was it like to come away with that type of victory?
Yeah, it was relief. I was relieved to have gotten back in there first and foremost. Like just getting to the cage was like, oh, good, I missed this. And then getting the win that quickly was just almost like a pleasant surprise because all his fights had shown that it was not going to go like a quick first round submission type win, and I was able to capitalize on a good moment. I think I got the better of him on the feet, and that kind of opened the way for maybe him not to break, but not to be in such a hurry to defend the back. Sometimes if you take somebody down right away, they're like, oh, I just gotta get back to my feet and I have a fighting chance. But I think because I did pretty well on the feet, he was almost like I don't know what else to do, and then hesitated and I got his neck. So pleasant surprise, and we knew I could do that, but I thought I'd have to work a lot harder for it. So worked out really well.
Yeah, and you became a father as well shortly after, didn't you? Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. About 2 or 3 weeks after the fight was on the 22nd, and my daughter was born September 9th. So, yeah, it's been fantastic. And as much as I would have liked to have gotten in the cage sooner, it ended up being a little blessing in disguise. Is now she's 6 months. So before I even got into camp for this, I was training all along, but it was nice. We got to get a nice schedule and get to spend some time with her first and foremost without having to at least travel. And it's just been fantastic. And now we really have our routine and we're setting our little ways. And I hang out with her in the morning before I go to practice, and then get her ready. I drop her off. Like we have our little time together. Then I go train real hard, pick her up again while my wife's at work, and we hang out. It's fantastic. So it's been a great couple months.
Yeah. How has it impacted your life then? Do you see things maybe from a different perspective?
Yeah, I think when we found out that we were having a baby, it changed my perspective a little bit because already I felt like, oh, I'm a dad, even though she's not here yet. And I was thinking about that stuff going into the fight, but at the same time, I didn't have the actual person here or that face to be like, oh yeah, like that's a tangible, thing. So uh, it was all speculation. Like, oh, is this how I feel? I feel like I'm providing for my family and all this stuff. But now she's here. Like she's not going anywhere. So yeah, it's just been amazing to have those actual feelings hit of like, wow, like this is my whole life's purpose right here. My purpose is to do a lot of things, be a husband and a fighter. But first and foremost, everything's got to go back to that little girl and making sure she's got the best life possible. So it makes me, want to really appreciate every single day instead of just rushing through and be like, all right, let's get this 6 weeks through, and then the fight's here. It's like every single day, every hour is a lot more valuable. But then also, from a training perspective, if I'm going to be gone, I want to make sure I'm maximizing my time. So if I'm going to be gone 2 hours, those better be a darn good 2 hours. I better be, serious and training hard and pushing as hard as I can. And I posted yesterday, I was thinking about it, and I just put it as like the caption of the picture because I'm terrible at that stuff. But I was like, I'm leaving the gym every day with an empty gas tank, because that way I can know no matter what happens on April 10th, is I used every ounce of what I've been given to prepare. And if I've done that, it's peace of mind going in the cage. What's going to happen is going to happen, but I prepare for the win.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And talk about Jim Miller then as an opponent. Obviously, like you said, he's got a ton of experience. He's been in the UFC since I think 2008. So what did you think when they first put forward his name to you?
Yeah, I thought like every name that's given to me, I'm like, oh crap, that's a tough guy. But that's everybody at 155 in the UFC or everybody in the UFC. But I was excited. You know, I grew up a Jim Miller fan. I'm from Jersey, so I was always rooting for him. And I just thought it's a fun matchup because, you know, we have some things that we do similar, but also some things that we do different. I'd say in the, you know, kind of widescreen lens, we're very, very similar. And then I think when you get a little narrower in and you look at it, there's some big, big differences that will make, I think, all the difference in the fight. But I think, you know, from the outside looking in, you're like, oh, these are two similar guys. We're going to throw on the feet, but we're both grapplers by nature and dynamic ones at that, I think. So from that perspective, you're like, this should be a great matchup. And it should be fun for me to be able to test myself against someone like that. But I think when you get down to like the game planning stages or the actual analytical, you're like, oh, well, this is where this works out for me or whatever it may be. So that's where my brain went right away, was getting with my coaches and let's figure out a way to get this done.
Yeah. What would you say sets you apart from him?
You know, I think I'm able to keep pretty high output, and I think on the ground, you know, he's super dynamic. He's very dangerous with his submission attempts, whereas I think I'm a little more conservative on the ground. You know, I'll go for stuff, but typically I don't like to give up position. That's what makes him great. You know, he lives by the sword and dies by the sword. So I got to be watching out for that on the defensive side of things. But for me, I try to be very positional and chip away, you know, if I can help it. So I think that's something that's very interesting is it's a kind of like a little contrast in styles for two guys that do have similar styles. So, you know, on bottom, I'm always trying to wrestle up and get on top and be real aggressive. And I think he works from his back very well. So it's just interesting perspectives of, you know, it's kind of different approaches to the same game almost. It's kind of weird.
And in terms of your preparation, has anything changed going into preparing for someone like Jim Miller, or things kind of stayed relatively the same as how you would normally prepare for an opponent?
Yeah, relatively the same. You know, we're going to talk about him and what he does and what I need to do defensively, but offensively, my game's going to be my game. We're going to focus on me and being in the best shape possible, and you know, everything's been the same on that end, and our training camp's been, you know, virtually the same. A couple different adjustments here and there. We changed up our strength and conditioning just a hair, you know, our scheduling with that, and feel really, really good as a result. But other than that, really the same thing. I've been training at the same gyms I go to. So Salty Dog Jiu-Jitsu, where I live in Wilmington, and then Fitness Edge MMA in Myrtle Beach, where I've been training out of for years and years. And that's where my boxing coach is based out of, with Chris Gowd. And then, you know, I'm up here right now in Gastonia training at Gym O. So still hitting the same rotation, a lot of miles on the car, but it's been a great time. You know, it stinks sometimes. You miss your family, or I'm getting home as they're going somewhere, or, you know, I'm getting home and I'm tired. But other than that, it's been fantastic because I'm getting the best looks from the best guys and the best coaches. So I really, really cannot complain at all.
And obviously Jim Miller, he's had inconsistent wins as of late. What have you thought about his past performances?
Yeah, you know, I try to watch. So when I take a fight, I try to watch if it's far enough out. Like with Matt Wyman, I have like 13 or 14 weeks, so I watched right away and then didn't worry about him, other than thinking about him, building him up in my head until like 2 3 weeks out. For this, since it was about 6 weeks out, I was already training like I had a fight, but I didn't really worry about watching him. You know, I just let my coaches do that. So I'm picturing, you know, the Poirier fight and the, you know, I think he fought Petty. Like he had some really, really awesome performances, obviously, in all his wins. But I wanted to train with that picture of him in mind, almost not as a peer, but as this guy that I used to watch. And then a couple days ago, I, you know, checked the footage myself just to be on the same page as my coaches. And, you know, there's been some inconsistencies. He's still Jim Miller. You know, he can still do all the things he did before. Looks like he might fade a little bit, but when you're in a 3-round fight, everybody fades. When you hit that third round, it's just who hides it the best. So, you know, with that in mind, he's still got his, you know, the grappling equivalent of a KO punch. If he snatches your neck up and takes you back, you know, you got a chance to be put away. So, but, you know, I think he's still the same Jim Miller, just maybe slowed down just a hair, hopefully. But I'm preparing for the best version of him possible because I know he still trains and look what he does to a lot of young guys that like Roberts is a great prospect, and he came out and made one mistake, just kind of reaching a little bit and got his arm snatched up. So just like every single fight I have, I know I got to treat them like they're the world champ, and if I treat everybody like they're the world champ, then maybe one day I'll end up the world champ by, you know, having that healthy respect and training that way.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, his last 4 wins that he have come via the first round. So what are you going to be expecting from that first round?
Yeah, I think I got to be defensively sound. I'm not going to change what I do. I'm going to go after him, try and hit him on the feet. If the takedown's there, I'll always take a takedown as well. But just got to be, you know, be very, positionally sound in the scrambles. I can't get too overzealous and, but just by trying to hold on to something too long, leave my neck out or leave my arm out or anything like that. And I think that just comes from pride. Guys they're too proud to take a half step back in a stand-up exchange or too proud to back out of the guard when they're getting beat there. So I train with a lot of guys who humble me every single day, so I'm not too proud to do that. So I think just, like the song, whoever sings it, the know when to hold him, know when to fold him type deal, that's kind of what you got to do in a first round with him.
Yeah. And I think this fight, obviously April 10th with you, once he steps into the octagon, he would have surpassed Donald Cerrone for the most UFC fights. So, in that kind of, when you look at it like that, and someone like Jim Miller, who is so well known, especially, in the division, do you feel like it's a tough test for you? Is it one of the toughest tests, or are you viewing it differently as it gives new eyes to you? People really enjoy seeing him fight.
Yeah, I think both. I think every fight is your toughest fight to date because, especially in this industry, right? We don't have tenure like that. You can't have an off night, and typically, if you're coming off a win, your next fight should be tougher than your last fight. But I think I always do this with my coaches. Is like they're all relative. I think this fight is just as tough for me as the guy that had more experience than me going into my third amateur fight, where I was like, man, that guy's a high level kickboxer. I don't know if I should be fighting. Like it's the same. It's just we're more well rounded and more decorated, and it's on TV. So I think it's just the next natural progression for me. I may have not been able to show, what I've trained to do, but I think it's the guy that I can show it on. I think I'm always going to kind of be in that position right now, coming off the Contender Series, and we're seeing a lot of guys coming off there and kind of falling short. And I've been able to sneak through the cracks and put two together so far. And I think I'm going to be that guy for a while where there's going to be some questions because there's not a lot of footage. I don't have a tremendously huge record like he does. So I'm going to have to prove myself against guys like him before people start saying, oh, okay, like this guy's one of them, So this is my chance to prove that I'm one of them.
Yeah, definitely. So April 10th with Jim Miller, how do you see the fight unfolding? How do you think it goes down?
I'm planning to get my hand raised after a 3-round grind. If something comes up along the way, that's great, but I never plan for that. I've learned that lesson a long, long time ago on the regional scene is if you sell out for a submission, trying to get out of there in first round and have an early night, you'll have a very long night. So we're ready for 3 hard rounds, and I just got to, like I said, I got to be positionally sound and disciplined, strike when I need to, not strike when I don't need to. Same thing in the grappling, advance when I need to and be patient when I need to be patient. And if I do that and I fight hard for each exchange, I get my hand raised at the end.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great day. Take care.